Prime Minister Narendra Modi speaking with the President of France, Macron, delineating Indian priority on AI, the global solutions, and what should India be doing on this issue.
Thank you, sir.
I'm now joined by Shashi Shekhar Vempati, one of India's foremost technocrats, who's going to decode what the Prime Minister just said. Thank you so much, sir. I really don't think you need an introduction, but he's one of the foremost technocrats shaping the country's AI, and I must put it on record, the deep tech landscape, and IIT Bombay alumnus. He has built a distinguished career that bridges tech, media, public policy, and innovation ecosystems. A very warm welcome to you. Sir, let's decode what the Prime Minister said. Tech manavta ki seva kare.
Right. So if you look at, I think this has been a consistent theme. In fact, I recall last year when we were around this time, we were in Paris for the AI summit in Paris. And, there was this very, deep divide. At one end of the spectrum, you had the United States, which was, advocating, complete freedom so that the, US-based AI technologies, can dominate the landscape. At the other end of the spectrum, you had Europe, which was extremely focused on, safety and ethics. And Prime Minister Modi then stood out. His address in Paris stood out for, charting that middle path, saying we need to balance the concerns with innovation. And that is when he, coined this thing about AI is, rewriting humanity's code. And we need to, think of AI as a human-centric technology. I think it is evolution of that thought process, which is what you heard today in his remarks with the French president just now. And if you look at his most recent interview, which just came,
Yes.
about an hour back, again, he's talked extensively on this theme on human centricity.
Mr. Vempati, you have been talking about democratizing AI, but I also have an added question here. Sir, AI, why is AI so unregulated? In America, it's unregulated. There is no scrutiny in China, and these are the two countries dominating the tech curve in AI.
Yeah, I think, when you have a technology which is so fast evolving, where, the pace of innovation is unlike anything that we have seen, it is natural that regulations will take time to catch up. And the technology and the adoption or consumption of the technology will be way ahead of the capacity of regulators to regulate or to moderate or mediate how this technology is used or adopted. So I think that is a pattern that we've seen in the case of AI. Because of the exponential nature in which innovation is happening, that gulf between regulatory capacity and where the technology stands is quite wide. However, we have seen in the Indian context, we have seen the risks to our democracy, especially during elections, with deep fakes and the kind of havoc fake content can cause. So I think in that sense, we have taken certain steps from a regulatory standpoint, but still early days. I think one of the key challenges is going to be how we build regulatory capacity with tools that will allow the regulators to keep up with this pace of technology.
Mr. Vempati, you have been talking about that the national AI capability must be rooted in Indian data and languages. How will that be possible?
So we have seen, for example, over the last 2 years or 3 years since when the the entire ChatGPT phenomenon emerged, that the Western models, which were largely trained on data sets publicly available on the internet, tended to misrepresent Indian context, misrepresent facts about India. And given that India has such a wide diversity of languages, it's not just the 22 official languages, right? For example, All India Radio creates content in nearly 100 languages and dialects. So that is the kind of diversity. And many of these languages and dialects don't have a digital footprint on the public internet. So it becomes very important that we build a repository of public data sets, which our model developers can leverage. That was the context of one of our initiatives at AI for India, which is called Data Dan, where we encouraged various organizations to voluntarily make their data sets available. The government since then has launched, as part of the India AI mission, the AI Kosh repository. And I think it's a vast repository. I think there's probably close to 1,000 public data sets available there. I think that is how we ensure that our model developers, our startups, have access to the Indian context and Indian data.
So there are two things, making best of what AI has to offer and the second is to be ahead in the AI curve as coders, as people who are part of the tech world. How would you evaluate India's progress there?
See, India, if you, we are blessed to have, one of the largest English-speaking, digitally savvy population. We are the talent pool or the talent hub for the rest of the world. It is not just that people of Indian origin are building technology in Silicon Valley and other places. If you look at some of the work that's happening here itself, like a lot of the Google DeepMind, work, those teams are based in Bangalore. Minister Vaishnav was in Bangalore recently, where he launched a 2 nanometer chip. Again, all of those engineers are not just Indian origin engineers. They are engineers who are resident in India. So as far as the ability to build technology, I think that talent exists in India. What we now need to see is startups, our innovators, challenge these global models. And I think that is where the steps that have been taken, be it the India AI mission, providing compute at a subsidized or a low cost, supporting these startups. And now with the launch of the Research and Development Innovation Fund, I think the government has taken several steps to walk the talk on supporting the startups. Now the time has come for corporate India to match that. Because unless corporate India, invests in R&D, invests in patient capital, long-term research, we will not,
But that's abysmal, sir. You would agree. Our investment in R&D research is no match when it comes to both China and America, sir.
Absolutely, and I think we need to change that. And I think that is where the Research and Development Innovation Fund, the 1 lakh crore fund, comes in. So the government has made its move. Now it is for corporate India to, match and step up to the challenge.
And sir, before I let go of you, what is your larger assessment on the impacts of jobs? I heard you were saying that the jobs are not going to go, the nature of the jobs are going to change, but what's the larger picture? I mean, you say, will it require, one, upskilling by everyone, and secondly, what about the rural-urban differences, will AI should enable a equal society, the pitfall is it can create inequalities. So what are your views on that?
Absolutely. In fact, the study that we released yesterday on employability and the impact of AI on jobs, especially fresh graduates and entry-level jobs, one of the things that we highlighted is this potential divide that needs to be bridged, because you have elite institutions on the one hand, like IITs and IIMs and AIMS, where you have access to technology, you have the compute power, you are able to keep pace with the latest. But the moment you go to the tier 2, tier 3 institutions, the smaller towns and cities, clearly they don't have access to the same level in terms of infrastructure. Also, there is a cultural problem there that the mindset in the colleges is one of policing. So they need to be, effect a big cultural mindset shift on how to integrate AI into the curriculum, how to prepare these students for the job market. Yes, jobs will change. There is no denying that. But for us to be able to capture that opportunity, we have to take several measures. One of the most fundamental of that is to ensure that this divide doesn't become a structural divide. We have to bridge that now. I think we have a short window, maybe 18 months, to put the right policy measures in place. I know that the NEP has several elements of that. I think execution is now what matters.
And lastly, AI with entrepreneurship, startups, are we witnessing a mushrooming of that culture? Startup culture, AI?
Without a doubt. I mean, if you recall any of the big conferences, be it the Mobile Congress or any of these other big conferences, historically they would all be about the big corporates, with huge booths. Yes. This is the first time you see such a large presence of startups running into the thousands. Without a doubt, I think that moment has come. Yes. The Prime Minister has long spoken about, don't just be job seekers, become job creators.
Yes.
I think the youth and the startups have really taken that message to heart.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining me. So, Shashi Shekhar Vempati, co-founder, AI for India, telling his thoughts on why this summit is important, what it means for India. I'm also joined by Ambassador Suresh K. Goyal, former Indian diplomat. Today, both Prime Minister and Macron, they were together. There was a joint statement. A lot of MOUs have been signed up. Without wasting time, your opening comments on raising this relationship to a global strategic partnership by both the leaders.
A very significant moment, I think, declaration of intent, I think, or at least clear expression of intention from both India and France uh, to uh, enhance the level of relationship, take it to the next stage, not just in terms of defense or space or different granular elements, but I think essentially to really give it a strategic dimension, and all the more important given the changes or the flux in geopolitics in Europe in the recent times. Please do recall that the discussions in the Munich Security Conference have been very, very substantive this time. And Indo-Pacific has become a very active area from France's point of view. So I think if you look at the whole picture, macro picture of the relationship, I would call it a very, very important moment in the relationship.
So, let me just play out two important bites of Macron and Prime Minister Narendra Modi at the joint statement they gave, and then I'm going to come back to you, sir.
जब हम भारत और फ्रांस की बात करते हैं तो हमारा रिश्ता इनोवेशन के साथ साथ ट्रस्ट का और शेयर्ड वैल्यूज का है। इसी सोच के साथ राष्ट्रपति मैक्रो और मैंने वर्ष 2026 मेरे पीएम प्रेसिडेंट मैक्रो का मुंबई में स्वागत करते हुए मुझे बहुत खुशी हो रही है। हमारा सौभाग्य है कि हम उनका स्वागत भारत के गेटवे यानी मुंबई में कर रहे हैं। फ्रेंड्स, भारत और फ्रांस के संबंध बहुत ही विशेष है। फ्रांस भारत के सबसे पुराने स्ट्रेटेजिक पार्टनर्स में से एक है और प्रेसिडेंट मैक्रो के साथ मिलकर हमने इस स्ट्रेटेजिक पार्टनरशिप को अभूतपूर्व गहराई और ऊर्जा दी है। इस विश्वास और साझा विजन के आधार पर आज हम अपने संबंधों को स्पेशल ग्लोबल स्ट्रेटेजिक पार्टनरशिप के रूप में स्थापित कर रहे हैं। यह पार्टनरशिप केवल स्ट्रेटेजिक नहीं है। आज के उथल-पुथल से भरे युग में यह ग्लोबल स्टेबिलिटी और ग्लोबल प्रोग्रेस की पार्टनरशिप है। फ्रेंड्स, आज भारत में हेलीकॉप्टर असेंबली लाइन का उद्घाटन इस गहरे विश्वास का एक और उज्जवल उदाहरण है। हमें गर्व है कि भारत और फ्रांस मिलकर माउंट एवरेस्ट की ऊंचाइयों तक उड़ान भरने वाला विश्व का एकमात्र हेलीकॉप्टर भारत में बनाएंगे।
भारत और फ्रांस के बीच के द्विपक्षीय जो संबंध है वो बहुत ही ज्यादा अभूतपूर्व है और सबसे अलग है। जैसे कि हमारी आज की बातचीत हुई थी और जो हम आगे भी करते रहेंगे आज पूरे दिन में, जो ये रिश्ते हैं, जो ये संबंध हैं, उनमें भरोसा है, खुलापन है, महत्वाकांक्षा है और हमने ये भी आज निर्णय लिया है कि हम इस साझेदारी को एक विशेष स्ट्रेटेजिक साझेदारी में बदलेंगे और इसका एक नया दर्जा देंगे। ये इसमें कोई शक नहीं है क्योंकि हमें पूरी तरह से इस रिश्ते में हम भरोसा रखते हैं और पिछले 8 सालों से हम यही कर रहे हैं और हर एक साल हम अलग अलग चीज़ों पर काम करके हमने एक नए रास्ते, कई नए रास्ते चुने हैं, जैसे कि तीसरा रास्ता जो हिंद प्रशांत क्षेत्र का हो या फिर तकनीक का हो या फिर, और जिसमें हम ऐसा रास्ता है जिसमें कोई भी हेजेमनी ना हो और हम पूरी तरह से कानून में, रूल ऑफ लॉ में विश्वास करते हैं।
Ambassador Goyal, can we say that France has turned out to be the closest European Indian partner?
Well, yes, I would say that. My only thought is that we are in the process of developing relationship with many other countries in Europe. again at a very special level. Please do recall about UK. Again, we have the FTA with the UK, with the UK, and the relationship with the UK in terms of both trade and economy is again very special. Comparisons and trying to say the best or the forward-most are very, very odious. Therefore, I would say the relationship with France is very, very special. It's very important. I don't think I would want to really compare with, but the very fact that the Prime Minister is mentioning that this is the only relationship which he would say the special global strategic relationship says a lot about this thing. France is on a special pedestal.
In context of the defense deal, whether it's Hammer, Scalp, or Rafale, what does it tell us, you know, in terms of our investment in their defense material? Has it appropriated that place of Russian armor or the Israeli armor, or just complementing it?
We can't replace the two.
Okay.
But what I can simply say that France has come way, way, way forward. And especially because France is prepared to share technology, which many other countries in Europe do not. And therefore, in the whole of Europe, France is very, very special.
You know, a lot of people say that the sort of people-to-people connection that exists between India and UK is far more dense. It's they understand each other, but that sort of a literary connect or the cultural connect or the cinematic connect is not between Paris and New Delhi at the level of popular culture. But despite that, there is a deep strategic relationship. Now, India enjoys with Paris, sir, but we do not enjoy that with UK. Can you just break it down for me? You know, it really fascinates me. Why has it happened with France and not with United Kingdom?
Very different kind of relationship, Karthikeya, if I may put it this way. With the UK, please, you remember that most of our leaders in the pre-independence era, after independence, they studied in the UK. University, the intellectual background, the kind of, the socialist leanings and the thought processes, it all came from UK. So UK has been the kind of intellectual academic center for us. Oxford, Cambridge are still well-known names as far as India is concerned. On the other hand, France has been the cultural capital. When we talk about Picasso, when we talk about painters, Amarnath Sehgal, when we talk about Jatin Das, I mean, they will talk about France really as the place from where they learn what the cultural art forms are. So in terms of the liberal art forms, in terms of the liberal thought processes, France is there. So different kind of relationship. I don't think that France can be replaced for the cultural interactions. I was there for when 10 years ago, we had the Namaste India there. And it was fabulous. I mean, we had Indian performances all over the streets in Paris. In UK, I was there in Edinburgh, where we had the whole Indian dances going around on the street. So very different kind of relationship. Again, I would hate to make the comparisons, but different from each other.
Absolutely, sir. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining me. So it's a big day for India. You know, it's a big day in context of AI. It's a big day in context of the India-France relationship in terms of defense, in terms of the warmth and solidarity which our Prime Minister showed with Macron. But the summit has not ended. The big day has not come. Another 48 hours, the who's who of the AI are going to descend in New Delhi, and we at the News9 will be tracking it. So this was on point one.